Learning the right way to handle the Volvo articulated hauler will boost your productivity, reduce machine wear, and most importantly, make your work on site safer. So it's well worth your time to watch this DVD. However, it is compulsory to read the operator's manual as well, as this DVD is not a substitute for the manual. Always consult your operator's manual for complete details. Make sure you're up to date with local safety regulations regarding transport rules, personal safety gear, and maintenance, as they may be different from what is shown on this DVD. Make sure you're always up to date with local safety regulations. Safety should always be your main concern on the construction site. Well-trained operators and properly maintained equipment, together with a well-planned work site, will provide a solid foundation for the safety chain. Man, machine, work site. Watching this DVD gives you the perfect opportunity to get to know your hauler better. Before using the machine, it's crucial that you're completely familiar with the instruments and controls, as well as the machine characteristics and service intervals. Watch the films about safety, loading, hauling, and dumping, together with tips about how to set up the perfect work environment, how to perform the pre-start checks, and more. So make yourself comfortable and welcome to learning more about basic operating instructions for Volvo articulated haulers. Before you start the machine, you should always carry out a pre-check of the hauler. This is important for safety. Walk around the machine with the engine switched off. Make sure that there are no leaks or loose machine parts, and that the tires are in good condition. Make sure that the steering lock has been removed after servicing or transportation of the machine. If the machine is a full suspension model, don't forget to check the suspension struts. Don't try to activate the full suspension if the machine is strapped down or if there is anybody close to the machine. When entering the cab, make sure that you use 3-point contact. This means that you should always have at least 3 contact points, consisting of 2 hands and 1 foot, or 2 feet and 1 hand. When cleaning the windshield or the rear view mirrors, always step on the slip-protected surfaces on fenders and hoods. Make sure that you use the handrails to obtain 3-point contact at all times. When seated, adjust the operator seat and the steering wheel so that you have a good working position. Check the rear view mirrors. Adjust if necessary. Before you start the engine, do not forget to fasten the seat belt. Make sure that the parking brake is applied and that the gear is in neutral. Now, you're ready to start the machine. Turn the ignition key to position 1. The machine's pre-start check must be allowed to finish. If the machine is equipped with the optional anti-theft system, you must enter the necessary code on the Contronic keypad. If the preheating light is on, wait for the automatic preheating sequence to finish before you start the engine. Now, turn the ignition key to position 3 and release it once the engine starts. If the machine is a full suspension model, check that the full suspension switch is in the operating position. The Contronic system monitors oil and fluid levels and displays an early warning on the Contronic's display if anything is wrong. Use the Contronic keypad to access information about the engine, transmission, hydraulics, etc. The Contronic system has 2 alarm levels. The yellow warning light means that the cause must be investigated when the machine next stops. The red warning light means that the machine must be shut down immediately and the cause investigated. Turn on the headlights, optional work lights, and the rotating beacon if required. Make sure that all lights are working correctly. Adjust the climate control to a preferred temperature in the cab. Make sure that the brake pressure gauges show the correct pressure in between the red areas. Apply the service brakes to put the gear selector into the drive position. Finally, release the parking brake. The transmission shifts automatically. The cab of the Volvo articulated hauler is a safe working environment. It's designed in accordance with the ROPS, Rollover Protective Structure, and FOPS, Falling Object Protective Structure, standards. If the hauler rolls over, hold on to the steering wheel. Do not try to leave the cab until the hauler has come to a complete stop. There are two emergency exits, the left and the right-hand side window. In an emergency situation, use the emergency hammer to break the emergency exit window. It can also be used to cut the seat belt. When parking, use the service brakes to bring the hauler to a complete stop. Put the gear selector into the neutral position and apply the parking brake. If the machine is a full suspension model, lower the machine by pressing the switch. Let the engine cool down for a few minutes, running at low idle speed, and turn off the lights. Turn off the ignition. Fill up the fuel tank at the end of the shift. This will reduce the risk of condensation in the tank. D is the gear shift lever's normal operating position. In this position, the transmission is fully automatic, providing the best comfort, fuel efficiency, and performance. The neutral position, in, is basically used when starting and parking. R is for reversing. The gear shift lockout is used to hold a gear in certain situations. The machine features several safety functions that protect the engine and transmission. For example, the engine can only be started with the gear selector in the neutral position, and no gear will be engaged until the parking brake is released. Refer to the operator's manual for more details. The Volvo articulated hauler offers powerful and accurate steering. The hitch gives you great off-road mobility without frame twist. When turning, make sure that nobody is standing close to the machine as the machine folds at the hitch. It's also important to know that the front end of the trailer moves outwards when turning. Pay particularly close attention when operating in narrow, tight areas. Volvo articulated haulers have retardation systems, which provide speed control during the whole of the work cycle. For example, when operating downhill and when slowing down before curves. The exhaust retarder is activated with a switch on the instrument panel to allow continuous use of the exhaust retarder. When activated, it's automatically applied when the throttle pedal is released. The operator can maintain higher average speeds throughout the whole work cycle, thanks to fast response, high continuous availability, and high performance of the retardation systems. Use the retardation systems for planned speed reduction and the service brakes for stopping the machine. For optimized traction and ease of operation, the ATC automatically selects 6- or 4-wheel drive, depending on the ground conditions. In extreme soft or slippery conditions, use the All Diff Locks floor button. This will engage all differential locks so that all wheels turn at the same speed. Differential locks may be engaged on the run, but never if any of the wheels are spinning. Disengage the locks before operating on firm ground or at high speeds. Machines equipped with hydraulic full suspension have automatic leveling for improved productivity and operator comfort. Make sure that the full suspension switch is in the operating position before moving the machine. Remember to lower the suspension when parking, before servicing, or when transporting the machine on a trailer. It's a common procedure that the excavator or wheel loader operator indicates the loading position by placing the bucket just over the point where the hauler should be placed. Make sure that you operate so that you see the loading equipment in the rear view mirrors and reverse straight up to it. The most efficient loading position is loading from the back or side with an excavator, or from the side with a wheel loader. Volvo articulated haulers are equipped with a patented load and dump brake function for ease of operation and safety. When positioning the articulated hauler for loading, stop. Press the load and dump button. This will automatically apply the brakes and shift the transmission into neutral. Note that the operator of the hauler is responsible for not overloading. Make sure that no material can fall off during transport. The operator of the loader or excavator will normally sound the horn when the body is full. When loaded, move the lever to the neutral position and then to a gear of choice. The load and dump brake system will then disengage automatically, releasing the brakes. Overloading reduces machine stability, safety, overall performance, and component life. It also increases fuel consumption. When operating in the following situations, the gear shift lever shall normally be in the drive D position, which enables the transmission to shift automatically up and down as conditions require. The parking brake acts as an emergency brake. Rain and bad weather change operating conditions. Make sure you adapt the speed of the machine accordingly. Rough terrain with soft ground conditions might require diff locks. Activate these with the All Diff Locks floor button. Don't continually use the same wheel tracks. This will only make them deeper. Overlap the wheel tracks and alternate between them instead. Adjust the speed before starting up steep uphill gradients. Use the hold switch to lock the gear if necessary. The machine can normally be operated on gradients of 20% to 30%, and in certain conditions up to a maximum of 45%. The specific site conditions must be evaluated by the site management. Before you operate down steep gradients, it's important to study the grade and retardation chart in the cab. It will help you select the right gear and speed. Never operate downhill in neutral. If necessary, check Contronics to determine the gradient. The maximum side slope gradient on which you can operate is 15%. but the specific site conditions must be evaluated by the site management. There is a difference between operating an unloaded and a loaded hauler. The loaded machine moves a heavier mass, thus increasing